very good. So we're going to cover DCI back office training. Now, this could expand into a more of a training series. I've talked a little bit with Andrew Rusher, and they kind of like some of these key points where they could expand and make a whole training call in each section. But these are all really important points for your dealers to be as successful as possible when it comes to their back office operation. Obviously, not the most sexy topic, which I think is why we saw kind of a low attendance to start. And, a lot of doors maybe don't have enough employees to think they need a back office team. If you don't have multiple doors, maybe they think they don't need it, but not true. Even if you're a one-person operation, the stuff we have on this deck will benefit your one-door owner-operators as well. Definitely it's going to help more if you have multiple locations, but there are some great practices in here. It doesn't matter if you're 1 door, 3 doors, 5 doors, 7 doors. They're going to really help you out in your business. So I have Julie on with DCI as a special guest today. We collaborated on this deck together so we can help kind of give you these best tactics for your doors to implement and help you guys be as profitable as possible. I think that's always our goal at DCI, is make you guys as profitable as possible, and we're here to make you as much of that cash money as you can get as we come into 2022. So if you don't have a back office in place, we're at the start of the new year. What a great time to get this started and get it going. And then if you do have a back office already in place, what a great time to learn some new tips and tricks and implement them and roll them out for 2022 to take your business to that next level. So with that said, let's get started with who's in charge of hiring. How are you guys searching for candidates? Julie, do you want to cover a little bit about this and what our dealers are seeing out there right now as far as boostmobiljobs.com?
Absolutely, Adam. See, I went on boostmobiljobs.com last week. This is a wonderful website that Boost set up for dealers to search for new employees. And I searched for a couple of our biggest areas for DCI, Columbus, Chicago. We are not seeing many, if any, listings for employees on this site. So if you're not advertising online, how are you getting your recruits? Most people are looking online these days. So this is a free place to post. It's a setup for Boost dealers. Should be a good way to get some new hires available. DCI is also willing to help you post job listings on Indeed. And sometimes the best way to find a new employee is to ask your current employees for referrals. Do you have a program in place to reward employee referrals? Are you giving them a bonus if they suggest someone who lasts you more than 3 months? These are some great ways to get some new hires. And I know everyone's hurting for employees these days. So. And
Julia, I liked what you just said for the employee referrals, if that employee stays for 3 months or more, right? Because you don't want someone to hire a friend that's not good. But here's why employee referrals work, right? Because we do it like sometimes we have openings at DCI, we have referrals out there. But I'm not going to put my name behind anyone who I think is a bum that's not going to work out. And it's going to come back and make me look bad. So by asking for those employee referrals and then giving a carrot after like 3 months, if they stick with us for 3 months, then you get maybe whatever the bonus could be, $100 bonus, a $200 bonus, whatever bonus you guys want to roll out for your doors for finding a quality individual to staff. I mean, that's huge because the people that your friends know that may be qualified, they're willing to put their name behind, could be a big opportunity. But as Julia said, that boostmobiljobs.com, people aren't using it. 0 listings in Columbus. Central Illinois, for example. Bloomington, just looked at a zip code, 0 listings. Chicago, how many doors do we have in Chicago? Only 9 listings in a 25-mile radius of Chicago. So we are not using this research or this this tool, which is there for us to help us recruit nearly as much as we should be, right? So this is a huge opportunity for you guys. So definitely make sure you're using boostmobiljobs.com. If you need help, reach out to your DCI account manager or your Boost account executive and give you kind of the how-tos on this. But if you're in the back office and staffing's an issue, this is the #1 thing you should be going to. Go to boostmobiljobs.com, talk to him about referrals, and you can crank these listings out. All right.
DCI can also help out with the merch for new hires as well. So just ask your AE.
Yeah, great call out. So those new shirts, like we want to make sure you guys are up to the standards for the dress code. Reach out to your DCI account manager. We can get you those shirts. We can get you maybe sweatshirts if it's a little bit colder, but we can help make sure that you guys are staffed. And if you guys want to utilize that for prizes, you can do that too. But we have those funds available for you. You just have to reach out for us and ask. All right, let's move on to training, right? So another back office thing that we want to talk about is how is your staff trained? Do you have standardized training across all doors? What are you currently doing? How long is an employee trained before they're left on a shift alone? Who's in charge of the new hires? Is it one person? Is it a store manager? Is it an owner? You should have this standardized kind of in a handbook, which we'll talk about in a couple slides. There's our handbook with all the stuff in there. If you have a new rep, how long do they side by side sell? Do you have it in there where they need to side by side sell for 80 hours before they're left alone, 120 hours? How long do they need to have a manager or an experienced rep watching over them before you trust them enough to work alone? Some of the pitfalls of throwing new hires in alone, which you see it a lot, and I've been to stores. Hey, how long you been here? Oh, it's my third week. Oh, who you working with? I'm by myself. Okay. And then I'll watch them sell. I'm here to make a payment. Okay, what's your bill? Or what's your phone number? Okay, yeah, it's $57. Here you go. They'll clerk and send them right up that door. They don't ask about ACP. They don't ask the qualifying questions. They're not talking about add-a-lines because they're still so new and they want to get people in and out of their doors. So you definitely do not want to throw any new hires in there alone unless you have this fully trained staff in place. And 120 hours may be a little light. Maybe you want to make it a little bit more than that. I know one of the best practices I saw from one of my doors is they make any new hire do 200 smile and dial calls as part of their new hire training before they get any compensation. So that's going to get that rep in the frame of mind of I got to make smile and dial calls each and every day. And I have to get to 200 before I get any comp. So my first few weeks, I'm learning the job. I'm learning the best practices. I'm learning what makes money. I'm learning smile and dial. So when that time comes, I'm ready to rock and roll.
And having that standardized training so that you know that you're not missing anything. So you're going step by step, going through STAR training, going through how to take a payment, how to pitch a sale. You don't miss anything if you standardize this, have it written down in your ops manual. Make sure that everyone knows this training route.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for bringing up STAR training. So any new hire should be in STAR, and then they have all those new hire training classes like Smile and Dial and Do Not Call List, right? If you have a new employee and they're in STAR, if they do not complete Smile and Dial and the Do Not Call List training, they're going to lose the entire store accessibility to make those Smile and Dial calls because there's a very big fine if those calls are not made correctly. So any rep that's in there has that requirement. They have to take the training both on DNC and on Smile and Dial in order to make those Smile and Dial calls. Some of the additional pitfalls of throwing new hires in new soon. Again, we talk about clerking instead of selling. We talk about missing those ACP opportunities and lack of the qualifying questions. So the big thing here is keep in mind, your guys' stores are specialty stores, right? It's not like going to a mall where you have 1,000 different stores or Best Buy where you have 1,000 different products. If someone comes in your door, you guys only sell Boost. Maybe you sell some Bluetooth speakers, but you're only selling Boost, right? So if someone comes in your store, they should not leave without a Boost product. You're a specialty store. So if they come in there, they are looking for your product. If someone comes in and walks out without not just a payment, but maybe a case, an accessory, screen protector, an add-a-line, that's a miss, right? So every customer coming in your door is a big opportunity, and it should not be looked at as customer want to make a payment, I made a payment, and they left. To me, that's a missed opportunity. All you did is get one payment out of that customer. Again, you're a specialty store. If they come in here, you need to capitalize on all your opportunities. And so ACP, for example, right? ACP, which is the Affordable Care Program, the replacement for EBBP, where you need to ask your customers, do you by chance get SNAP? Do you get Medicaid? Do you get WIC? Did you make less than $25,000 on your W-2? If so, you can qualify for some amazing offers where you can get your wireless service paid for free, and you just pay for the price of a device, a hotspot, or a tablet. So doors that are pitching that for payment customers, it's a numbers game. They're seeing it crush. What I hate seeing, and I see it a lot when I go into doors, customers in to make a payment, they make the payment, they send them out, they don't even ask about ACP, and that customer's walking out. If I'm in the store and I see this, I stop them. I say, hey, wait, before you go, have you heard about our ACP program where you can get 6 months to a year of free service? All you do is pay for the device. If you qualify, do you get Snapper Medicaid? Oh, yeah, I qualify. Okay, can we check and see if you're eligible? Yeah, of course. Right? So those customers I'm catching, and then they're getting qualified and we're selling devices. But if a rep's not asking those questions, you guys are missing them. So that's just a big pitfall of throwing a new hire in too soon. You make sure they are doing these steps with every customer. And it can't be the excuse I get a lot. I know my customers, I see them every month. Well, you don't know what your customers, what happened in their personal lives last month or this month. If they maybe have a new family member, if they're in a new relationship, if they have a new, all of a sudden they have a need for a Wi-Fi device, you don't know what's happening in your customers' lives each month. So it's always worth asking the question. The worst thing they're going to say is, no, I'm good. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get the yes. If you ask, you have a chance of getting that yes. All right, next I want to talk a little about an employee handbook. So
I mentioned this a little bit already, but
yes,
we should absolutely have a handbook that all of the employees have access to. They should have a copy sent home with them at hire, and then there should be one in the store at all times. Should include a lot of different resources for them, including any rules that they might have any questions about, guidelines for their uniform. Obviously, we have plenty of expectations on how the store is to look, how the employees are to look, but also an organization chart. Do the employees know who they're going to contact in case they can't make it in? If they are having issues with Elevate, if they need to process a return, if a customer comes in and they're having issues with their phone, the employee needs to know who to contact. So you should have like your National Port-in Center number, Boost Customer Care, ACP hotline, all of their managers, all of their Boost reps, their DCI rep, all of that information should be in this handbook.
100%. So if you guys don't have an employee handbook, it doesn't matter if you're a one-door owner, a 3-door owner, a 7-door owner, a 52-door owner. This is a big opportunity where you can have those rules to make sure everyone's aligned on the same page. You have your organizational chart of who to contact for what, and your employees are taking advantage of those resources and know what to do when those situations arrive, like those port-in issues or ACP issues that Julia was just discussing with you. Scheduling. Julie, you want to cover this one as well?
Sure. Boost has some required basic hours that we must be open for, and they're fairly easy. 5 hours on Sundays and from 10 to 6 on weekdays. Being open outside of those required hours is totally allowed. Can be a huge benefit for your business. If you're open in the evening and every other store is closed around you, you're going to get a lot more traffic and give you a lot more opportunities. We have a couple stores that are open 24 hours a day, and they make bank in the middle of the night when most of the stores are closed. So keeping those stores open longer hours, of course, you need to think about how you're scheduling your employees. If we're only scheduling one person at all times, we're going to be missing sales. If you have 50 people coming in to make a payment and they don't have time to pitch your add-a-lines, your BOGOs, your upgrades, you're going to be missing out. So we recommend having at least 2 or 3 employees for days that we know are going to be busy, 1st through the 3rd, anything anytime you're hosting an event that you've advertised for, your SSI days, certain holidays like Christmas time, we know that we're going to see some rushes in sales. Upcoming, we've got the tax season coming up, and we're hoping for a good one. We'll see how it goes. But it's good to be prepared when we know those taxes are going to be hit. So if we don't schedule our employees well, we're going to run into issues with the employees. So schedule appropriately in advance, keep them engaged, keep them, you know, a reasonable amount of days per week. If we're working them every single day, they're going to get burnt out and they're going to quit. So we got to keep them rested and excited to work.
Yep. And so we get it. Staffing is the toughest part right now, right? So that kind of goes back to our slide a couple slides ago is, are you guys taking advantage of, where was that slide? The boostmobiljobs.com. Are you taking advantage of that site to help staff your doors? Are you reaching out to DCI to help you guys with new hires as well? Because I see a lot of times when a rep is in, one rep is in the door, and I'll do a visit and I walk in there, and all of a sudden that store gets busy. There's 5 or 6 people. I'll try to help out as I can, but when that rep sees 5 or 6 people in their door, they turn into a clerk. They don't pitch everything they're supposed to pitch. So I have to slow down and say, hey, I get you're busy, but slow down, because each one of these customers is a big opportunity to make a new line, a new sale, an add line, an ACP. If you're not even talking about ACP, you're missing an easy sale. What's easier to sell than free service? Nothing, right? But it happens time and time again. You get one rep in a store, your store gets busy. Oh, I want to get them in now. I don't want to make these customers wait because they're going to get mad, right? So that means you guys need to schedule appropriately. Try to get 2 reps as needed, but make sure even if you have 1 rep, they maximize the opportunities. Just like when a customer comes in, you want to acknowledge them within 5 seconds. Hey, thanks for coming in. We're a little bit busy right now. I'll get to you in just a minute, but I see it. Thanks so much for coming to our store. We'll get with you shortly. You acknowledge them. If you acknowledge them, they're going to feel good and they're going to wait. If you don't acknowledge them, you have 4 or 5 customers, and you just focus on that one customer in your door and you're helping that customer. Then you go to customer number 2, but again, you're 5 deep. Then you go to customer number 3, and each interaction is taking you 5 to 10 minutes. That customer's going to walk. They're going to go to another Boost store down the street. We have a lot of Boost points of distribution. So at least acknowledge your customer. Try to schedule to get that second rep in. It is very, very important, and we want to make sure they are taking advantage of every single opportunity coming into your location. Okay. And then again, remember those big days, those SSI days, those holidays, the 1st and 3rd. And that burnout is real, right? So with employees being hard to hire right now, I mean, I hear it a lot. Man, I work 7 days a week. I've worked 7 days a week for 2 or 3 weeks. Those are reps that are going to get burnt out. Make sure you get your staffing in place to help avoid that, and we can help with that as well. Okay. Next, this is a back office thing, right? Let's talk a little bit about your commission scale. So when you look at your commissions, you got to think about, do you need to change your commission scale frequently to reflect key areas? I would say yes, because a lot of times our promos change, spiffs change, and we won't talk about dollar amounts on this call, but we know those promo amounts change, the spiffs change, what you guys make change. That can change a lot. So just some categories that I want to make sure you guys are focused on to make sure your reps are driving these sales. Are you paying comp for new activations? Are you paying comp for upgrades? Are you paying comp for ACP? Yes, that ACP comp did drop a little bit, but it's not that much. If you look at the big picture there, that comp drop is very minimal. And we need to keep those customers coming in and keep your activations high, because sooner than later, meaning within about the next 30 to 45 days, you're going to be able to sell ACP on a family plan. You're going to sell it on a single line plus protection. So a $57 plan is going to cost you, minus your $30, $27 in the near future. So you don't want to lose momentum. So if you're paying comp on ACP, keep that going. Are you paying comp for attachments like for device protection? Anything that makes you guys money, if you incentivize your rep, even if it's $1, say we're going to put device protection on your phone, we'll give you $1 for adding device protection. That's going to be a carrot for your rep to make sure they're selling that because they're making more money. It's going to be profitable for you as a dealer. and your numbers are going to skyrocket. If you don't, I have some dealers that say we don't pay anything, but we pay a high hourly wage. Okay, I hear that. I hear that a lot, and that's fine, but then your reps are going to do the minimal because there's no incentive. What's incentive your rep to do everything extra? You know, if you give them that incentive where they're going to make more money, they're going to push it. If they say, oh, well, I just have an hourly wage, it doesn't matter if I sell ACP. I have an hourly wage, it doesn't matter if I sell insurance. Well, those are the doors that we historically see lower ACPs and lower insurance attachment rate.
And lower 3MR without that insurance.
Absolutely. And ACP. ACP is so huge, the 3MR. I'm averaging close to 80%, over 80% of the month's ends for 3MR for my doors. And it's not because of the new activation traffic. It's because of ACP. The government's paying those bills, right? 6 months to a year. So ACP is even better than EBB. That was an emergency program. ACP is affordability program. So Boost literally said last week, you can tell your customers that's a year of benefits on this program. So your third month's going to be paid. Your 6 months going to be paid. That means increased 3MR, which means increased allocation. I mean, it's all across the board. So you guys have to be driving that. Now, I have on here as well, is there an incentive for smile and dial calls made per rep? And I talked at the start of the call about, I have a dealer that says you have to make 200 smile and dial calls before you can earn any compensation. Because we've gotten away from this. I'm going to say this for myself personally, and for a lot of doors out there. We've gotten away from smile and dial in the last 3 months. I get it's the holidays, but we need to refocus on our smile and dial calls because this is easy money. And what does this help you drive? Number one, your SDDN. You have that bucket there of customers who are on the yellow Sprint network to move over to the orange T-Mobile network, which we only have about 45 days left until March when that gets shut off. So there's a huge sense of urgency here. Make sure you crush your smile and dial, especially the SDDN buckets this month. Also, items of commission need to be communicated regularly. Make sure you know how they get paid, if it's weekly or bi-weekly, how that comp is. If promos change and you're changing comp, make sure your reps are aware of that and they don't have questions on it. You know, there's a lot of times I'll go to the store and say, are you paid on this? Are you paid on that? No, I don't think I am. Oh, can you check? Oh, actually I am. Okay, good. You know, so it's just there's those items here and there where reps need to be clear where they make that money to drive that behavior for commissions. All right, Julia, let's move on to IT operations.
Absolutely. Obviously, we need a lot of software to keep this stuff up and running. So just think about who's in charge of keeping software up to date, making sure that any updates are installed for Elevate and ePay. Make sure that it's all working all the time. Another thing is we need to make sure that there's more than one computer set up with Elevate and ePay at every location. If you don't have at least 2 computers set up, you are going to be missing out. There are times when your DCI rep or your Boost rep might be at your store and trying to do some side-by-side sales, help you out. If you don't have 2 computers, we can't help you very easily. And if you're in the middle of an activation on one computer and it's going slow and you have a customer who just needs to pay a bill real quick, having ePay on a second computer really helps with that. So just having several setups, it's going to help you out. We also want to make sure that every employee has a separate login for Elevate and ePay. If you don't have separate logins set up for each employee and each store that they work in, it's going to be harder to figure out who's doing what. It's going to be harder to track your commissions, harder to track your metrics, figuring out what KPIs the employees are great at. The DK dashboard in Elevate is a wonderful resource, but it only works if you have separate employee logins. So highly recommend you get everything set up and in one place so that everyone knows where to find their information.
Yep, I ran into this just last week in the field, Julia. I was at a door, 1 rep, 2 computer stands. I had 3 customers coming in, 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. I'm like, hey, I got these guys. I can take it. Can you log me in over here on this computer? I'll take care of it. That computer doesn't work. Okay, well, I guess I'll answer questions here in store, but they're going to have to wait for you, right? You got to have at least 2 POS stations at your door, especially if you're a branded location. Again, staffing, you want 2 people instead of 1. If we have 2 people there and 1 computer works, that's a big issue. But even like when I come into a door and I can help out with this traffic flow, I mean, I closed 3 ACPs during the visit, but I couldn't do anything with them. I had to close them and ask them to wait because I couldn't get on the computer while he was dealing with other customers. And I mean, it's a big deal. Think of the money you're losing by not having that second POS up and running, whether it be for a second employee, which that store needed one, right? Or for if you have someone coming in and you need to use a second computer. You need to have at least 2 POS stations running, guys. All right, when it comes to financial operations, just something to keep in mind. Again, this is a big back office topic, so not for your frontline staff, but for you guys in the back office. Who's in charge of making those deposits to avoid ACH bounces? If you have an ACH bounce, which that's if you order equipment and you don't have the money in the bank to pull that equipment order, your ePay temporarily gets shut down, which then triggers an email from Moon at our office, and we have to reply back saying, okay, the money is now there. Can you please re-CH it, which does have a small fee attached to it, or you can do like a check or money order. But your ePay shut down, which is a big deal. If you have a big order of equipment in, the money is not there, and then your ePay goes down, you can't take a payment from a customer. So just who's in charge of making those deposits to avoid ACH bounces? Also, as far as your back office, to have someone in charge of your payroll and commissions tracking, to make sure if there's any questions you have on commissions, to make sure you are getting paid through ePay. Do you need to file an appeal? Who's in charge of that? Who's in charge of filing your taxes? Do you guys use a CPA, whatever the case that may be? Who tracks your commission payouts to make sure you're being paid correctly? And if an appeal is needed, who is filing that appeal? So those are some other good operations financially for your back office team. Moving on to ordering and inventory.
Obviously, we need to have some inventory in the store or else you can't sell. I don't know how many times I've walked into a store ready to help them sell some promo things, that $10 tablet, and they don't have any in stock. So we need to make sure that someone is in charge of ordering regularly for the store. I recommend making sure that you check your allocations every Tuesday night, putting those orders in for Wednesday morning, and as needed otherwise. But we've got a lot of phones available right now. I know that there's been some times in the past when we have been low on certain devices. We've got some great inventory this week. Make sure you go ahead and place an order. But think about who is in charge of not just ordering the phones for the store to sell, but anything else your store might need. Printer receipt paper, ink for your printers, cleaning supplies, toilet paper. You need a lot of things to keep a store running. You don't want to have to close down and run out to a Walmart to make sure that you have what you need. So make sure that someone's on top of checking that stuff ahead. We also recommend doing your inventory reconciliation in Elevate once a week, making sure that the phones that you have are the phones that the system says you have. And make sure that you have a system in place for however many stores you have. If you have a store that's just taking in inventory in Elevate and you're not processing it out correctly, that can affect your allocations. So if your Elevate system shows that you have 1,000 phones, you're not going to get very good allocations. We need to know what the correct numbers are. So if you're not reconciling that and making sure that those numbers are correct, I would advise doing that today.
You got it. Next, I want to touch briefly. I know you're a little over, so we'll kind of hurry through these last slides, but just keep in mind who's in charge of your advertising and marketing. So in the back office, do you have someone who's in charge of your Elevate marketing to make sure your campaigns are sent? Do you have someone who makes sure that there's new logins for each employee hired to your store for Smile and Dial? Have they completed those trainings, the DNC training, the Smile and Dial training? Are you making sure that your marketing blasts, which you're paying for with Elevate, are getting sent out twice a month? Those will be via text message or email. Last mile interaction. So how are customers viewing your store? Are you responding to reviews? Who's in charge of responding to those reviews? If a customer has a complaint, are you responding to that complaint to say, hey, sorry for your issue. We can help you out. Come in and see us and we'll take care of A, B, and C. Create that competition amongst your employees to get good mentions. And And I speak to this specifically, your last mile interactions. So it's a best practice I had for one of my dealers. And I'm like, man, this guy, his name was Marcos. I'm like, Marcos, bro, you have like 30 great reviews out of 30 customers. You have 5 stars. Your store's getting blown up online for your advertising. What are you doing? He's like, man, I'll tell you what. We get $3 commission per positive review, provided they mention your name and they give you 5 stars. So when I sell a customer and he bundles in a case and screen protector, I bundle in the case and screen protector, say, hey, I'll give these to you for free. As if you go online right now and give me a positive review so that I can see you mention my name, I'll throw these in. So that's his pitch, right? Is he's throwing them in, but honestly, he's bundling them into the cost. But the customer's like, oh, for sure, right? So this store is getting so many great mentions, which is blowing them up on social media. So when a customer looks at what Boost store to go to, like I know my wife is always like, whenever I want something, let me look at the reviews. Who has the most positive reviews? This store is getting the most positive reviews because they are pushing that number at their door. So it's something you can create competition. You go in a contest. Whichever rep gets the most positive reviews, gets a $50 bonus at the end of the month or whatever the case may be. But I'm just telling you, man, I love that best practice, and this guy was crushing it, so I want to make sure we shared it with you. All right, next we'll talk about keeping paperwork up to date, leases and insurance. Let me just check. Yeah, we only got a couple of slides left, so we only have 2 left, guys.
Mm-hmm. So with this paperwork, we just need to know, are your leases up to date? If you have any that are expiring within the next 180 days or so, you need to think about whether you're going to be extending that lease, relocating, selling that store, or closing. Obviously, we really like to extend those leases, but we need to make sure we're doing what's right for the store. So sometimes relocating is the best option. So just keep that in mind. Keep on top of that. Don't get surprised by your leases ending. You also want to make sure that your insurance is up to date. Boost has minimum requirements. We need to have that updated regularly within Boost back office. So just make sure that we have those copies.
You got it.
I'm not going to go through all of that.
You're good. And then lastly, just defining the district manager role, we have whole presentations that are half an hour each just for DM trainings. But if you have multiple locations, again, this one maybe not for a one-door operator, but if you have multiple locations, defining that district manager role, that DM should supervise and oversee the operations of your retail store, multiple retail stores within a region. And those duties can include hiring, training store managers, collaborating with the managers to set goals for each store, and communicating and enforcing those policies to the managers and team members and holding them accountable for performance each and every month. So this is kind of a beginning for this back office training, guys. We will expand on some of these topics, but just wanted to give you kind of a Cliff Notes version of things that can really help take your organization to the next level in 2022. With that, I will open it up. Are there any questions?
Doesn't seem like there are any right now. I would like to thank you for having me on today.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate your help. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.